A step-by-step instruction on how to redo a coffee table, basically. Turn you around so you can take a look at what we're dealing with here. So this is just a wood coffee table, or the wood top off of a coffee table. I think it was from IKEA about 5 years ago. The glaze off from the poly that was on there. And I'm going to mix up 2 different types of epoxy. So I'll be using this colored epoxies, MFE white epoxy resin. This is my part A, and then I've got a hardener, part B. I'll also be using Pro Marine Supplies tabletop epoxy, part A and part B. This is going to be a very dark pour. I will not be using those. So the white I'll actually mix with some black. So we have some black and white. I'll be using these for the first time. It's a dye that's specifically for resin. We'll see how that works. One of these is a solid color and one of them has pearlescence in it. I'll also be using mica powder, No-Con blue, midnight blue. So this will be, and then a little bit of pewter in there and a little bit of steel. So I'll get that out of the way. When I get into the mixing process, I only have a certain amount of time to get this all mixed up and apply it. I'll be doing a little bit different application this time. The base coat will be the same as I usually do, but the design is going to be quite a bit different. If you notice, I don't have my troughs on the side. So when I was doing my other tabletops, I always had the troughs on the side, and what I'm kind of trying to represent with those is as if you were redoing your actual countertop. So the countertop you can't pick up, you can't move, you know, it's attached. So it's different techniques for getting the designs and everything that you want. This one, I'll be doing it a little more like artwork, I guess. And I don't know how it's going to turn out, so this should be pretty fun. All right, so I'm going to put you down, start doing our mixing. So this is a 2-to-1 mixture with this type of resin. So I will be doing let me get my math. I want a little bit more of this because I'll be using it for a couple different colors. So if I do 12 and 12, it takes me 24. I don't have 24 ounces in there. So 10 and 10, 20, and then 30. We'll do that. So I'm going to do 20 ounces of this white, hopefully. If I don't have it, luckily I have, okay, so I only got 16. You know what? So I'll just change my math on that one, and I'll do 8 and 8, and then another 8 for wow, it's late. 24 ounces. Hopefully it'll be enough. So normally, I'm all thrown off. It's late. It's a random night. So normally, okay, you're supposed to put the hardener in first. I already screwed that up. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna take another one. I'm gonna put my 8 ounces in here. So I don't wanna mess up. This is one of the important parts. So 8 ounces. And then take your resin or your hardener and kind of swirl it around on the edges. Make sure it's all coated as well as you can. And then I'm gonna go ahead and mix it in, mix this one in. All right, so there's a couple different kind of paddles you can use. I've got a liking to using one like this. You can also use a mixer like this. This one, if you get too close to the surface, it tends to pull a lot more bubbles down into the mix, which you don't want. This one hasn't been doing that as much, so. This colored epoxy, it mixes really fast compared to the marine epoxy. So now I am going to add some black diamond to this. But before I do that, I'm going to pull out, wow, sorry, good old ceiling there. I'm going to pull out about 12 ounces of this because I don't need as much as I usually do for the base coat. We'll go right there. Alright, so kind of want to see how this dye works. It says shake well. Never used it before. So we're going to try it out first and just see. It said it only needs 2 drops. We'll see about that. We'll test it. Put 3 drops in and mix it up and see what kind of a finish or what it does to our color. That did absolutely nothing. So I'm going to go with my pearlescent that I like. My mica powder. I don't know how much I'll actually need because I usually am dyeing. That's blue. Glad I double checked. I do that all the time. It looks black, so. Here, now we'll try again. Sorry, this video is not quite as smooth as I usually do. I'm gonna put a few of these in here. See what kind of look we get. Bring this on camera so you might be able to see it. It's not doing anywhere close to what I'm wanting this to do. So I may not be able to use this white resin. I was trying something new. See how much of this I can add to change the color. Sorry, that one was sealed. Try again. Oh, there we go. We might get to black. All right, we're not getting anywhere close to black. So what we're gonna do failure. We're going to use our clear marine epoxy. I'm just going to throw this in here. It's not doing anything like I want it to do. And I need to pour this out. So I'm going to set this aside. Okay, so failure number 1. for the night. Hope you stick with me. I promise it'll get better. Or it won't. All right. Some new cups out. Oh, we'll try this again. Okay, so I'm gonna switch over to this Pro Marine, all right? We're gonna do quite a bit of it because I've gotta use it for the surface, the base, and the rest. So we're gonna do 16 ounces and 16 ounces. This one mixes 1:1. I hope it works too. Not a very good production at this point. I've already lost like half my viewers. We'll get there. Or you can always come back when I'm done and take a look. There's no pressure on me, nothing. All right, 16 ounces in here, and got another one. We're gonna go to 16 ounces. Now when you're doing your pour, do your hardener first. You want to be pretty precise with this. I don't know if you can see that the sweat on my face, but it is hot in this dang garage. All right, now we'll do part A in here. After we swirl this around the edges. I'm going to go ahead and do this one so I don't forget. I tend to forget this part. All right. We're going to 32 ounces. Now this part A is, so I used to do it with the door open, Matt, and I encapsulated enough mosquitoes to suck a cat. Well, I'll rephrase that. A lot of bugs got stuck in my tabletop, so I don't have the door open anymore. I've ruined a couple projects. All right, finish up this 32. All right, we got 32 in that one. What's the point of I don't know what swirl you're talking about. Was I swirling the epoxy into this? If I was, I wasn't doing it on purpose. Just a random tidbit. So I've had a lot of people ask me if this is a good substitute for, countertops, obviously. But is it a good substitute for granite or quartz or anything like that? And the answer is no. This is plastic. So it is a good substitute for mica that's bad or any kind of other just crappy countertop that you want to refinish. Then this is a great substitute for it. But if you already have granite, I would try to refinish that. Definitely wouldn't cover over it with this. Now with this stuff, when you mix it, make sure that the mixing, I'm going to kind of try to show you. You see how it's kind of glazy, you can't really see in there. You're not done mixing until this gets clear. You can see how that's separated material. Take your time with this mixing process. It takes a lot longer than that other material that I was showing you. Mix up our other batch now. Now your pot life on this, honestly, maybe 45 minutes. It depends on if you leave it in a big container like this. If you leave it in this big container, you're gonna lose your pot life because this is a chemical reaction. It's gonna create a lot of heat. When it's all together like this, it creates even more heat, so it's going to cure faster. All right, so I'm going to transfer this over to a bunch of different colors or a bunch of different containers. I have, what is that, blue, black, dark black, pewter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we'll do 5. Whew. Sorry, it has been a long day. Not as talkative as I usually am. Okay, so now we're going to turn this one into black, hopefully. I'm going to set these to the side. We're going to try to do all this mixing very quickly. I don't have too much time. So hopefully it works now. If you were watching a little bit earlier, you can see my epic failure on using that white resin. Note to self, the white resin does not take color, and it does not take pigment as well. All right. So that looks black, but it's not very, it's very transparent. So I'm gonna add a lot of this because I need it to be black. All right, finally. Whew. We're gonna lay this table now. All right, so this doesn't have to be all that precise. I just want to get an even coat on the whole thing. I am going to make a huge mess on my floor. Not overly excited about that, but oh well. All right, so I'm just using a normal roller. It's a foam roller. You can use a scraper if you want, but I'm just gonna push this around and try to get coverage on top of this table. If I need to add a little bit more, I will, but I shouldn't. You're not looking to actually roll, you're just kind of looking to drag. I'll smooth this out a little bit later. Right now, I'm just trying to get it all over the table. Want a little bit more along the sides. Oh. I need to be careful. I'm sweating like crazy. And I do not want to get water into this. Alright, so like I said, I'm trying to push it out to the edges right now. Make sure everything is covered. Now once you're trying to smooth it out, you want to do long strokes across the whole tabletop. If you stop in one spot, you'll create a little mound, kind of like that. Okay, so I'm going to do the sides now. You want to do a quick little brush all the way along the side. And that'll help this to actually flow over the side once you pull it to the edge. See how it just kind of flows nice, breaks that surface tension. So this black that I'm using is called Black Onyx. It's a pretty cool color so far. It's the first time I've ever had my light turn off on me while I'm doing this. Now, y'all gotta appreciate that I'm doing everything one-handed, right? I know that my shaking is probably a little annoying. But I do have a secondary camera set up today. Look at that. Got some lights too. So I am gonna be making some pretty cool videos later on. All right, so I am done with that. That's gonna level out. I'm gonna turn my light back on real quick. And excuse my garage, we just had a hurricane come through and we were told initially that it was going to be pretty bad. And then it didn't hit us at all. We didn't even get maybe 15 mile an hour winds down here in Tampa. So praise God on that one, but I had everything prepped for a hurricane. Just briefly cleaned out my garage today. Put everything back to where it was supposed to be. Okay, so now we're doing a bunch of colors here. I am intrigued on how this is going to turn out. We're going to do this really cool blue color. Like I said, I've never used this dye before. Okay, so definitely needs a lot more than what was recommended, I'll say that. Because I need it to be dark. I'm looking for an actual color, not just a hint of color, because I'm going over black. So, like I said, I may have screwed up on this already, because this needs to be really dark in order to actually be able to see it on that black. And it's really pretty though. Here, check this out. So this is one of the blues that I'm using. You might be able to see it a little bit. It's going to be one of those tabletops that you kind of have to look at close and you're like, oh wow, now I see it, which I'm okay with. So now we're going to do this blue. Cure time is 24 to 72 hours. It's completely hard at 24 hours, but you should not be using it. 72 hours for you to be able to use it. So these are already starting to heat up on me. I was going to do that pewter. I don't think I am. Changed my mind. I am going to use this sapphire blue though. This other blue that I just mixed up earlier I think is going to be take the place of what I was going to do with the pewter. I have some pretty cool effects that I'm going to be trying on this. If it works right, it's going to blow your mind. Promise. Alright, going to put some more of this black in here, make it super thick. Be careful not to sweat into the... Oh, I need to put an AC in here. I've about had it. All right. So here we go. I think I'm ready. First thing we're doing, I've got a cup that... Here we go. Oh man, I just got water on it. Well, we'll see what happens with that. Okay, I've got a cup that I've cut the back off of. And we're just going to drop that right there. I don't think I've ever sweat this bad in here. Okay. So I need this big cup. So here's what I'm going to be doing. This is called a dirty pour. So I'm gonna put the majority of this in here. Leave a little bit out. So you can see I'm doing a bunch of different layers. And there's a specific result I'm looking for, and well, hopefully we get it. Coming back over to this little guy. I can't really see it with that light. This is gonna be cool. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to put you down for a second because I need two hands. That bucket's pretty heavy. We're gonna put you that you might be able to see what's going on. Give me a second, bear with me. All right. Grab my arms real quick. So I'm doing that little sway on purpose. I don't know if you guys can see that steam coming out of there. It tells you how hot this is. It is burning the crap out of my hands right now. Like I said, the longer you leave it in a big bucket, the hotter it gets. So normally you have a lot more time than this. Okay, so check this out. Check this out. But we're not done yet. No, we're not. So this little guy, I'm gonna go ahead and pull off. Now, I'm gonna let this flow. I gotta put you guys down. I'm having some issues right here. It is curing really fast. So I gotta speed up this flow a little bit. Otherwise I'm not gonna get my look that I'm going for. You guys may have witnessed a failure on my part because I'm pretty sure this cured too fast. And I've got a really bad mess up here in the center. Oh wow, look at this. Yep. Oh, screwed this one up. Well, hey, you can't win them all, can you? But here's something that I can do with this so it won't be a complete catastrophe. I've never had it cure that fast ever. So take away some pros from this, other than the fact that this is our coffee table and I kind of screwed it up. I can sand this down and it will be fine. And so I'm guessing it's just really hot in my garage today. You can see this is what's in the cup already. So I'm going to show you what this would have looked like. I'm going to have to go back and sand this whole thing down. But this is what I was going for. Was this craziness right here. Right? And it was looking amazing. But that steam, I mean, that's what ended up happening, right? So I always say that this is easy. But when you try new things, sometimes you screw up, right? So we're gonna let this cure and I'll come back to it, sand that down so it's smooth, and then I'll be able to go over the top of it again. So we'll try again in a few days once this completely cures. And I kind of learned, what did I learn? What's the takeaway from? yeah, so I can sand this out. I can plane it back down so it's smooth. And honestly, it might look kind of cool. Once I sand it down, I can polish it if I wanted to. And leave it, or I can just sand it all the way down and go over it again. So that's the cool part about this type of top. It's plastic. All you have to do is break it up a little bit. You can see a couple spots where I got water drops on it. That's what happens. It separates out. But this is the look that I was going for. It was going to be a little bit different because I was going to have it flow across the whole table. And yeah, it would have been pretty amazing. I'm still going to do it. I'm going to figure out how to get this to work a little bit better, as far as there's just I need more cure time when I'm working with that much resin. I think it's because I mixed it all up. So I normally do 2 different resins. I usually do this white resin right here. I get that on the table. I get it all worked in. Everything's good. And then I come back and I mix up my other resin. So by using the same thing over the whole table, I lost time, basically. I needed about 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes, and it would have been good to go. Now I am going to go ahead and go over this with a flame, just in case there are some bubbles I can get out. Pretty funny, I labeled this as coffee table masterpiece. It's more ended up as coffee table master failure. Anyway, yeah, I appreciate y'all hanging out. I'm gonna finish this up like I normally would. I'm gonna get all these bubbles out of here. And then scrape the sides. You can see it coming down pretty good over here. Just make my sanding process a lot easier. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, and tune in for my next project. Hopefully it won't be as much of a failure as this one was. Anyway, peace out.